What's good people? Immersive here with something just a bit different. Now this channel is all about travel content, and I realize that some people watching this would too love to travel. They really could see themselves going to another city, maybe across the state, across the country, or even across the world, but they've never been on a plane before. Why? Maybe because they suffer from aerophobia, the fear of flying. Maybe they don't want to deal with the hassle of airports and security and would just rather drive. Maybe flying has been too cost prohibitive in the past. It is an expensive way to travel. There are a list of reasons, right? But maybe they're simply ready to take their first flight, or for one reason or another, they are now being forced to take a flight, perhaps to visit family or for work. Or maybe they just want to see the world that exists outside of their familial surroundings. Maybe this is someone you know, or maybe I'm talking to you. And perhaps anxiety, curiosity, concern is settling in, perhaps all three. So I've made a 3-part video series dedicated to first-time flyers. This will be as comprehensive as I can make it. It's perfect for first-time flyers, travelers that haven't flown in a while, as the aviation industry is always changing, and frequent flyers that can make sure that I've covered everything. The 3 videos will be broken up into this video, which is the post-purchase, going over everything that happens from ticket purchase to the day before your flight. Video 2, the airport experience. This will cover the actual day of travel all the way up through boarding, so being on the actual aircraft, and then the flight experience. Video 3 of 3 covers from once you're in your seat on the plane to your arrival in your destination city, as well as a few insights I've gathered over my decade plus of flying all over the world. Keep in mind that these videos are from the lens of a U.S. traveler and feature the rules and regulations of U.S. agencies and airlines. What may be the aviation or travel law in your country could differ from what I explain here. I've got timestamps in the description so that you can skip around if need be, but grab you something to snack on, maybe a little something to ease your nerves, because this is everything you need to know about taking your first flight. Let's start with immediately after purchasing your ticket. After you purchase your flights, you should do a couple of things. Now, I'm going to assume that you already know from where you're flying and where you're flying to. This video won't focus on that, nor will it focus on different seat cabin classes like basic economy versus business class. But if there's an interest in that, or some travel ideas, tips, tricks, and insights on how to book travel itineraries, share that in the comment section so that maybe I can make a future video about it. When you finalize the payment of your flight, you will get an email with the confirmation of your purchase. Make sure to save this email because 1, there will be a confirmation code, typically a 6-character alphanumeric sequence that you can reference prior to the flight on the airline's website or an app, or once you arrive at the airport. And then 2, it contains other important information about your flight that you need to verify. Information like dates of travel, cities and airports of travel, the times of travel, total number of passengers traveling, the payment method, just to name a few. You need to make sure that everything is in order within 24 hours of your ticket purchase. Why? Because, at least here in the United States, you have a full 24 hours from when you book your flights to cancel the trip and get a full refund. Not a travel voucher, not a credit, a full refund. And this is straight from the Department of Transportation. The DOT mandated this in early 2020, but a lot of people still don't know about it. Basically, you have a full day to change your mind and you'll get all of your money. Why might you do this? Perhaps after booking, you find a much better rate on another carrier. Far more likely, however, is that your plans have suddenly changed and the flight isn't necessary anymore. Another scenario is that you may have mistyped an airport, like MSY for New Orleans instead of MTY for Monterrey, Mexico, or instead of MRY, Monterey, California. The airlines don't openly advertise this 24-hour rule, obviously, but it's a great get-out-of-jail-free card in case your situation changes. There are some stipulations, and I've linked a more comprehensive video from the Thrifty Traveler YouTube channel if you want more specifics about the rule. Finally, you just want to get excited. You just booked a flight. I always get a feeling of excitement every time I book another flight. The thrill of getting out and seeing this beautiful world always gets me going. All right, let's continue. Now, while you can sometimes find last-minute travel deals, most people will book flights 3 weeks or more before their travel dates. My recommendation, you want to book travel anywhere between 2 to 4 months out. I suggest you do this to avoid the relative uncertainty in flight prices more than 6 months out and the spike in flight prices within 14 days of a departure date. As you enter within a week before your flight, really consider how you plan to leave the airport and get back to the airport if this is going to be a round trip flight. Are you planning to have someone pick you up? Are they familiar with the airport layout and know where to pick you up? For smaller airports, this shouldn't be an issue as the drop-off area may be the same as pickup, but for larger airports like Miami, for example, there's an upper level for departures, a lower level for arrivals, and then each door has a number assigned to it to help navigate. But it's important to know that in advance. If you're staying at a hotel, will you be taking the hotel shuttle? Does your hotel even offer a hotel shuttle? Is it complimentary? Do you have to call them in advance? Is there a specific location for pickup and drop off? For example, I recently went to Bermuda and was surprised to learn that hotels there do not have their own shuttles to and from the airport. How to get to a Bermudan hotel then? Either have a private Bermudan citizen transport you or hail a taxi like I did. Then, a little cheat code here, make friends with the driver, and if you like their service, grab their phone number. Then anytime you need a ride, you can give them a call or text and have a driver on standby. Rideshare like Uber or Lyft may also be a ground transportation option. Many airports have designated areas for drivers to pick up their rides, so make sure to check the app to see where your driver's going and then follow the airport signage to find them. Some airports in smaller cities may not have an abundance of rideshare drivers, so you'll either have to be patient until someone becomes available or arrange for a taxi if that's available or have someone come and pick you up. The week prior is also a great time to go shopping for travel toiletries. Specific clothing needs, convenience items, maybe some snacks or headphones, just the small things that help make the trip less stressful. Once you travel a couple of times, these items will be a lot easier to consider. All right, we're almost there. Your flight is tomorrow. What should you be doing? Typically 24 hours prior to your flight, you can check in for your flight. Now this essentially means confirming with the airline that you plan to be on tomorrow's flight and confirming your luggage details. Checking in is also important because it is at this point at which you'll receive your boarding pass. Boarding pass is a crucial document that I'll explain about more in video 2. There are a couple of ways that you can check in. First, the airline's app will usually push you a notification and guide you through the check-in process. You may also get an email from the airline that directs you to check in. There should be a link that you can click on. However, given today's cybersecurity risks, some people are wary of clicking on unfamiliar links in their emails, and rightfully so. Therefore, you can also check in directly on the airline's website. Look for a link for check-in, and then usually you have to enter that confirmation code we spoke about earlier, the alphanumeric sequence that you got in your email when you purchased your flight. Sometimes they ask for more identification information like the passenger's last name. Then you're all checked in. That was simple. Also, if you need to purchase a checked bag, you can do so now. Let's talk about luggage. You really should think about luggage before purchasing your ticket. It's almost always cheaper to pay for luggage at the point of buying your ticket versus paying after the fact. Try your absolute best. Avoid paying for luggage at the airport. Depending on the airline, it could be absurdly expensive. The first item we're talking about is a personal item. This is something typically like a purse or a small backpack. Whatever you choose your personal item to be, it must be able to slide into the space under the seat in front of you. Just a heads up, some airlines are much more strict about sizes and weights for luggage than others. Make sure you keep that in mind. Each airline will have a baggage policy on the dimensions that a bag should fit within. This goes for personal items, carry-ons, and checked bags. Next is what's called a carry-on bag. Sometimes you'll see it referred to as a cabin bag, but I prefer carry-on. This is a bag that can be placed under your seat, but is typically relegated to the overhead bin space above the seats. Each airline is different in how they measure carry-on, but the dimensions are close. For example, here are Delta's maximum carry-on measurements, and here are Frontier's. There's also a lot of divergence among how the airlines charge for carry-on bags. For some airlines, a carry-on is free, whereas some would charge a fee. Some airlines have dynamic pricing where the busier the flight, the more a carry-on costs. Some are going to be very strict at the gate, and you have to put your bag in the bag sizer, which is a metal box in the dimensions of the airline's carry-on size. Some carriers are more lenient, but do some research to know which ones to be wary of and pack accordingly. Okay, the last major type of luggage is called a checked bag. Some may call this a hold bag since it goes underneath the plane in the cargo hold. The key to optimizing luggage is imagination and consolidation. Similarly to the carry-on bag, each airline has maximum dimensions for checked bags, including the weight. That's important. So while you may have a larger suitcase to put your belongings in, you have a limit as far as the weight that you can carry. Keep in mind that you not only have to consider what you're packing on the way to your destination, but also on the way back after you've collected all of your purchases and souvenirs. It seems like every time I fly, I've seen someone at the ticket counter rearranging their entire life in their suitcase, trying to see how they can reduce their bag weight. Stuffing socks in their pockets, wearing 3 sweatshirts, it can get bad, but I've been there before. I call it the spread of shame. You got your whole suitcase wide open, literally airing your dirty laundry to the whole airport. People behind you in line watch this as they too are waiting to see if their bags pass the scale of destiny. It's a wild, frenetic, and humbling experience. But you can test out the bag weight on a scale or one of those hanging luggage scales in the comfort of your home or hotel room, and then rearrange everything before heading to the airport. That way you can confidently march up to the airline check-in desk and save you some of that anxiety and embarrassment at the airport. Or you could just pay the oversized bag rate. That's always an option. A few more things about bags. If you're bringing spare uninstalled lithium-ion batteries, make sure that they are in your carry-on bag or in your personal item, never in your checked bag. Also, any liquids like wines or semi-liquids like shampoos or conditioners should be put in your checked bag. Large volumes will not be allowed through security in a carry-on or personal item. The TSA's rule is, however, that you are limited to a maximum of 3 liquids, gels, and or aerosols of 3.4 ounces or less in your carry-on or personal item. I've seen some leniency, but that's the rule. I also go over items not allowed and allowed in a bit more detail in video 2 in this series. Finally, there's also specialty luggage like animal crates and oversized luggage like ski bags, musical instruments, and golf bags. Each airline has special procedures, so make sure that you verify with that specific airline before booking that ticket, or within the 24 hours after booking if you need to cancel the ticket. Hang on. If we're gonna talk about luggage, let me share something with you. Wouldn't it be cool if you could have both a carry-on that can double as a personal item, giving you that space that you need and the cost savings? Allow me to introduce Takeoff Luggage. They gifted me their aptly named Personal Item Suitcase 3.0. Looks like a standard carry-on, but bam! Once the wheels are removed, it can fit under the seat in front of you. This is a game changer, and those that have flown Spirit or Frontier know it very well. As I mentioned, with some airlines, paying for luggage at the airport is more expensive than if you were to pay it when you initially purchased your ticket. And if for some reason your bags are too large for the bag size at the gate, some airlines charge immensely more. For instance, something you thought was a personal item, the airline may classify as a carry-on, and that might run you $100 or more at the gate. And that's just for the one-way flight. You'd have to figure it out for the return. Now, if your ticket purchase includes a carry-on, then you should be all right, but let's say you've brought a no-frills ticket on an ultra-low-cost carrier. Carry-on bags incur a fee ranging from $30 to $70 in each direction, and this can put a big dent in your travel budget. Let's say you want to get away for Memorial Day weekend, and you find a non-stop round-trip itinerary from Fort Lauderdale to Las Vegas for around $320 using the standard, most restrictive Go ticket. You want to travel light, and you think you can make the trip work with a carry-on bag. We're not going to select our seat because that costs money on Spirit. With the Go ticket, you can't even pay for a carry-on. It's not even allowed with your ticket purchase. You'd have to pay for a check bag, and that's $70 each way, right? But a personal item is included in your ticket. So instead of your round trip costing $460, you can save at least $140 in luggage fees with the Personal Item Suitcase 3.0. Takeoff Luggage has this, along with a couple more items to help reduce the cost of luggage fees. You can check them out at takeoffluggage.com and use my code MM10 at checkout to save 10% on your next purchase. That's MM10. Look at that. I just saved you some more money. Now that you have your luggage packed up and ready to go, the final item you want to make sure you have the day before your flight is your boarding pass. Make sure that it's somewhere easily accessible, and it can be a physical boarding pass, an actual printout, but most airlines are going to mobile boarding passes. Make sure you save this in your phone's wallet app or passbook. It's happened to me where I didn't have a cell signal and the airline's app was not pulling up on my phone. So be cognizant that technology is not perfect, and maybe you do want to have that printout just in case, or you can take a screenshot of your mobile boarding pass to have for later. Once again, every airline is different, so check to see if there is a fee for them to print you a boarding pass there at the airport. Okay, so this video has gotten you to the day before your flight. I hope that it gave those new flyers an idea on how to prepare for the flight, and it may seem like a lot, but just take your time to compose yourself and you'll be well on your way. In video 2, I'll cover how the day of the flight progresses, including the check-in process, breezing through security, and what to do while you wait for your flight. Make sure to like this video if you got something useful out of it, and subscribe if you like content like this. The link for the personal item suitcase 3.0 from Takeoff Luggage is in the description, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace and love, and bye for now.